This guy would know better than me. Ian Rapoport, NFL Network National Insider. By the way, Dolphins-Chiefs, Saturday at 8 Eastern exclusively on Peacock. Ian, let me start with the Patriots. What do you think this comes down to for Robert Kraft and or Bill Belichick?
I mean, I would say the simplest way to say it is, I think it comes down to what's the best for the organization, right? Because I think this thing has kind of gone a couple different ways. I think mid-season, probably after Germany, people were kind of like, yeah, I guess Bill will probably be out. And it's like, okay. And yeah, maybe. And then you watch his team really, really close, and they are not that talented. I mean, they're really not. They are not like one of the bottom rosters in the NFL. They played really hard. They played really tough. They lost a lot of football games, and they looked like a team that continued to play for their head coach. What that means, I do not know. And I think Belichick kind of made it clear in his postseason presser, like he is not quitting. Like he wants to be back. He is under contract. If he is going to be gone, they are going to have to fire him. I was told that Robert Kraft does not want to fire him. So I don't know if these two men will get together and say, here's the best path forward. I also would say this, if Belichick is going to leave, let's say not get fired, but let's say it's at some point they get to a mutual parting, I believe it will be with a place where he knows that he is wanted. So I know everyone wants a quick solution. And as someone who spends a lot of time covering these things, I also would like a quick solution. I don't know that it's going to be quick at all because there's so many moving parts. And the Titans took 2 days to deal with Mike Vrabel's situation, and he had been there 6 years. Belichick has been there for 2 decades. This might take a minute.
But how surprising is the Vrabel firing, and what does that mean for the coaching searches for teams after hearing that news yesterday?
Yeah, I would say pretty significant. And I wasn't totally surprised. You could sort of sense, and my good buddy Tom Pelissero did an article on this kind of right at the end of the season, something was not right. I mean, all the rumors came out. He's sitting next to the Crafts in a box. He's there for the Patriots Hall of Fame induction. And then and all these rumors come out, and then he comes back and no one addresses anything. And I think inside the building, I'm not talking about general manager Rand Carthon. I thought the relationship was fine, good, fine, workable, fine. He never, from my understanding, Vrabel never stepped to the owner and was like, hey, these rumors are ridiculous. I want to be here. Everyone just kind of went on. And I'm not sure that Amy Adams Strunk forgot that. You know what I mean? So I think when there was an option of maybe we should make a move, here's how we want things. Would you agree with this? And he was like, I'm not so sure. I think then it became clear, we need someone who is all in going forward. And it's time for a new coach. And obviously you say, well, what does this mean for New England? I think what it means is if the Patriots move on from Belichick, there is a really, really good coach, a proven good head coach who's a viable option.
Jim Harbaugh's options. How many options do you think he has in the NFL?
I know he has some interest. I also know in the last 2 years, 2 years he's had interest as well. Vikings, Broncos. I think had he come in and said that he was definitely taking the Broncos job, I think he would have had a good shot at it last year. Ultimately, he did not. Lightning has to strike for a coach to get offered a job. It has to be literally perfect. So I can't say right now, I know for sure that Harbaugh has a spot. I know there is interest. I know when he has gone in the past into these interviews, he hasn't really viewed them as interviews. It's more been I am Jim Harbaugh. I would like to see the offer now. It's sort of like that. And maybe he's earned that, but I would say at least there's interest. I don't know if there's going to be an offer. And I know there's an offer on the table from Michigan to stay that he would be more than fine with.
Chicago going to stay with Matt Eberflus?
So right as we were going on, the reason I was a little late getting to my Zoom, sources have said that the Bears have fired offensive coordinator Luke Getsy and Andrew Janocko, their quarterbacks coach. That is obviously a very significant move for the Chicago Bears. And you look at the development of the quarterback, you look at, are they going to have a new quarterback or not? There's a lot there. That is a very significant move for the Bears. That also, if you're going to fire the offensive coordinator, generally it's the head coach making the call, generally that means the head coach is safe. I had received indications that the head coach was safe before the end of the season. Those have not been firmed up, and no one has said, like, yes, he is definitely staying. But you make a significant offensive move, generally that indicates the coach is probably sticking.
All right, so the Bears have fired their offensive coordinator and their
Yes.
quarterback's coach.
And their quarterback's coach.
Okay. Which leads you to believe they will do what with the number 1 overall pick, given that information?
I don't know. I wish I knew. I would like to know the evaluations of Drake May. I'd like to know the evaluations of Caleb Williams. I'd like to know the evaluations of, whoever else would figure into that spot. And I think that's really what this is. It's not, did Justin Fields do well enough to stick around? Like, he did very well. By the end of the year, Justin Fields looked really good. That's actually not sort of what makes the decision. What makes the decision is, I have these evaluations of these quarterbacks who are coming out of the draft. How do I compare that with what I've seen from Justin Fields on an NFL field, plus the contract that Justin Fields would be getting, plus, compare that to the cheaper contract a rookie would be getting, plus the compensation you'd be getting when you trade Fields. It's all a mathematical equation, essentially. But the unknown is, how good is Caleb Williams? Like, some people think he's Mahomes. Very possible. Some people think he is not. It's also possible. It's the biggest decision that Ryan Poles will ever make, and I don't think they're there yet.
He's Ian Rapoport, NFL Network National Insider. The Insiders at 1 Eastern on Monday through Friday on NFL Network. Also, Dolphins-Chiefs, that'll be Saturday night on Peacock exclusively, where weather is going to be an issue. Could you rank the openings right now? If we went with Carolina and the Chargers in Washington, Vegas, Atlanta, you have one place where you go, that's the ideal place. That's where I'd start, and ownership and all of that and salary cap stuff.
It's so hard. I think they're not always good ones, because a lot of times if a team is terrible, it's not a good opening. I would say I think the Chargers is really good because you have the quarterback, and like, you get there. And now with that comes expectations. You're going to get to the Chargers job with a really star-studded roster. You're going to get there and you're going to say, you really need to win. Right. I would say the Falcons have everything but a quarterback. So if you're confident you can get a quarterback, that's a really good job. Panthers would certainly take some time. That's a good job if you believe in the quarterback, I would say.
What about the owner?
To me, and this is just me, I don't really see an issue there, right? Like, to me, he is an owner who wants to win very badly, very, very badly, intensely badly. Now, that's separate from the thing that happened in the Jaguars game, throwing a drink. That was bad. But I'm just saying, as an owner, did he make a rash decision with Frank Reich? Like, I don't know. It was not working. It was real ugly. It was not working. So to me, like, you have an owner who's intensely committed to winning. That is okay, even if sometimes it makes people uncomfortable.
I like the Washington job because you got the second pick in the draft. That's a great fan base. You can go in and you got new ownership backing you. What do you think of Washington?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like the Washington job. It might take a minute. I certainly think it might take a minute. You need a quarterback. I think you're probably going to get one with the number 2 pick. It's a harder build, but then there's the other, like, there's going to be the stadium things that are going on. There's the business side that needs to be fixed. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
But it seems to me that the new ownership group really gets it and has proven they get it. You know what I mean? And so I would say that's a really good job. It would just take a little longer to be a really good job.
What is the earliest time frame that a coach can be hired?
In-person interviews for those who are currently employed can't begin until the 22nd. So if it's Jim Harbaugh and you complete the DEI requirements, he could be hired sooner. That kind of gives him a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah.
But like these are all going to be a while. Now Antonio Pierce could be hired a little quicker. They could do 2 interviews with people of color who are not currently employed and then just hire Antonio Pierce. So I think Harbaugh or Pierce could happen quicker. Everything else is going to be like, around championship weekend or after, or God, like after all that.
But Antonio Pierce, the Raiders still have to abide by the Rooney Rule.
Yes, 2 coaches at least of color who are not currently employed in the building by the Raiders. Yes,
Ian,
you cannot just promote him.
Ian, thank you. Good luck this weekend, and we appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks, man. Enjoyed it. Take care.
Ian Rapoport, NFL Network insider. Once again, you can watch the game exclusively on Peacock, our home. That'll be Saturday night. It's the Kansas City Chiefs, Miami Dolphins.